You're watching Alabama's WVUA News at 10.
Hello everyone, I'm Claire Huddleston. Thanks for joining us tonight. Since the April 27th storms, many people have had to work closely with their insurance companies. But how can you speed up the process if you're still waiting for a check in the mail? WVUA's Matt McCoy shows us how.
In the days, weeks, and even months after the April 27th storms, many people have had to deal with insurance companies, some saying it's a headache, others having no problems.
You try to work with your insurance company and you read the insurance policy and you don't understand it, and then they come out there and the adjuster tells you what they're going to give you, and you just say, well, that's not going to fix my property and my damages.
But for some, like Mark Booth, they've had to rely on lawyers to speed up the process.
You got to be very careful about the information that you give the insurance company and what you say, and little do you know that something you may say or do could be used against you because it violates the terms of the policies.
In fact, some insurance companies suggest taking notes on anything that is said during a claims process. Experts also advise you visually inspect your home for structural damage and take steps to prevent any further damage, like boarding up holes and covering leaks with plastic tarps. Once the structural damage has been addressed, begin salvaging your furniture and possessions. Most importantly, during the claims process, make sure to document everything, from damage to your property to providing receipts for any recovery-related expenses.
You want to be very careful in the evaluation and estimation of damages, and that's a very crucial aspect of any claim, obviously. And the insurance company, they are required under the policy to determine what your damages were. If you, as a policyholder, are not required to do that. It's their burden of proof.
Also, photograph and list any damages, spoiled or contaminated items, including quantity, description, and age. All these tips could help you speed up any claims with your insurance adjuster. Reporting in Tuscaloosa, Matt McCoy, WVUA News.
Another helpful tip, check with your claim representative before you dispose of any items you plan to claim as damaged. Tens of thousands of people denied federal money to recover from the April storms may still have an opportunity to receive thousands of dollars in grants. FEMA says those who were denied have 60 days to appeal from the date of the letter. Officials say people could still apply for grants up to $30,000 or low-interest loans up to $200,000. And a reminder, this is the last week FEMA's Disaster Loan Outreach Center will be open. The center is located inside Tuscaloosa City Hall Annex. It will close Thursday. If you have questions, call FEMA at 1-800-621-3362. Rosedale was in the path of the April 27th tornado and suffered extensive damage. Now the Tuscaloosa Housing Authority is planning to tear down what remains of the complex and rebuild from scratch. The tornado knocked down 96 homes. 92 are still standing. Plans were already in place to rebuild Rosedale before the tornado, but the destruction has sped up the process. Ralph Ruggs, executive director of the Tuscaloosa Housing Authority, says they've been cleared financially to begin phase 1 of the rebuilding process. During that time, residents will have to move somewhere else until construction is finished.
This is McKenzie Court that got new apartments, and they're two-story apartments. They're very nice, and we'd like to have something like that in our neighborhood.
The city is trying to come back together and trying to rebuild, and that's one sign of progress.
Ruggs says they plan to start building in November and have the project completed by 2014. It's almost time for kids to head back to school, and getting all of the school supplies can be expensive, especially for families recovering from April storms. But there is help for those who need it. It's called Operation Backpack. It's a joint effort among local school systems, the Salvation Army, Tuscaloosa's One Place, and several other businesses and churches. Their goal is to fill 10,000 backpacks with school supplies.
I'm glad to be able to provide children something that I was not always provided for. So personally, it's very intrinsic gratification for me knowing that they'll have what they need. If they don't, it's because they didn't come and get it, didn't ask for it.
Backpacks and supplies will be handed out this Saturday from 8 until 11 at these locations: Snow Hinton Park, Central Primary, and Northington, Inglewood, Brookwood, and Huntington Place elementary schools. For some time now, the Tuscaloosa County school system has been operating without a strategic plan. Now, Superintendent Dr. Frank Costanzo wants to change that. During tonight's school board meeting at Maxwell Elementary, Costanzo proposed the board begin the process of forming a 5-year plan for the school system. Costanzo says the time is right for the school board to set long-term goals because the school system just received district accreditation and finished assessing student achievement. Costanzo says to provide the ideal environment for students, the focus of the plan must be to build financial resources.
We've got to be able to find additional local revenue, but at the same time, when you look at that plan, in order to advance technology, we're in the 21st century, and we are limited on the resources that we have. We've got to be able to do that. And when you say you're a system where students learn, grow, and achieve, then the resources that support that vision have got to be in place.
Costanzo estimates having a proposed 5-year plan by January 1st and the final process started by March. He also wants community members to give their input as well. Time for a first look at Alabama's home team forecast. Here's Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott.
Hey Claire, good Monday night to you. Still some thunderstorms happening on Home Team Interactive Radar tonight. Mostly activity to our north and west tonight. North of Tuscaloosa, north of Samantha on Highway 43. Nice little thunderstorm up towards the north over Fayette County near Bankston and Berry. Also back to the north and west of Lamar County. Just north of Sulligent, moving southward. All these storms are moving south and producing an incredible amount of cloud to ground lightning. If you're outdoors, certainly just head inside, let the storms pass you by. So the thunderstorms are moving again south this evening. You notice back over East Mississippi in the central part of the state, there are some storms trying to move off towards the east, not having much luck. They are starting to kind of fizzle out, but our forecast tomorrow for our Tuesday, if you have plans outdoors, going to be a hot day, but scattered storms cool some of us off. Best chance of rain tomorrow happens south of Demopolis and Selma. What about the rest of the forecast? Home team weather is coming up.
President Barack Obama addressed the nation tonight about the looming deadline to raise the debt ceiling or risk defaulting on loans. The president says some Republicans are standing in the way of a balanced compromise because they're insisting that spending cuts are the only option. Republican and House Speaker John Boehner says the president wants a blank check from Congress to raise the debt limit, and that's not going to happen. Republicans and Democrats have put forth competing last-minute deals. It's unclear how or whether a compromise will happen.
The American people may have voted for divided government, but they didn't vote for a dysfunctional government. So I'm asking you all to make your voice heard. If you want a balanced approach to reducing the deficit, let your member of Congress know. If you believe we can solve this problem through compromise, send that message.
The president has often said we need a balanced approach, which in Washington means we spend more and you pay more. Having run a small business, I know those tax increases will destroy jobs. The president is adamant that we cannot make fundamental changes to our entitlement programs. As a father of 2 daughters, I know these programs won't be there for them and their kids unless significant action is taken now.
If a deal isn't reached by August 2nd, the government won't have enough money to pay its bills like Social Security checks, veterans benefits, and government contracts they've signed with thousands of businesses. Alabama's most populated county may be filing the largest municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history. Jefferson County is more than $3 billion in debt due to a sewer system project. The county proposed a plan to creditors that would eliminate almost $1.3 billion of that debt, but they have yet to hear a response. The Jefferson County Commission is holding a meeting this Thursday to decide if they should declare bankruptcy. During Alabama's gambling corruption trial today, an FBI forensic accountant testified about money transferred from accounts controlled by casino owner Milton McGregor. The accountant says McGregor transferred a total of $14.5 million to country crossing developer Ronnie Gilley. This was a relatively small portion of Gilley's bank activity. Over a 2-year period, a total of $57 million went into Gilley's accounts. The trial moved into its 8th week today. More than a year after the BP Gulf oil spill, some people are still unhappy with the way their claims have been handled, and they want a federal judge to appoint someone to oversee the claims process. Interim payments from BP's $20 billion fund are intended to keep those affected afloat until claims are settled. They say Administrator Kenneth Feinberg has been too slow handling these interim payments. They claim BP and Feinberg are benefiting from desperate people settling for a quick one-time payment in exchange for a promise not to sue BP.